I was sitting on the edge of the mattress one Tuesday morning, just staring at my heavy work boots. The house was quiet and Linda was still asleep. Putting those boots on felt like a massive chore that day. It was not because my lower back hurt or my knees were stiff. It was because my legs felt completely hollow inside. It felt like the vital connection between my brain and my calves was covered in a thick layer of static. You probably know that exact feeling I'm talking about. When you stand up from a chair or the bed and you have to wait a long, terrifying second for your legs to remember how to hold your own weight, you grab the edge of the tall wooden dresser just to be sure you do not go down. I sat there in the quiet and I honestly thought this was just the normal, unavoidable price of getting older. But my daughter Megan is an occupational therapist and she does not let me get away with convenient excuses. A few weeks after that morning, I was having coffee at her kitchen table and I casually mentioned that my legs were feeling a little empty lately. She put her cup down and looked right at me. She told me I was looking at the problem completely wrong. She said it was not just the muscle tissue fading away like everyone thinks. It was the electrical connection breaking down inside the body. She explained it using words like motor unit loss, but then she translated it so I could understand. She brought over some printed papers from her clinic and showed me something that kept me awake that entire night. By the time guys like us hit 70, we have not just lost muscle, we have lost up to 40% of the actual nerves that tell those muscles to fire. 40% of the original wiring is just completely gone. The muscle might still be sitting there on the bone, but the electrical switch is broken. I spent over 30 years moving heavy freight in a commercial logistics warehouse. I worked on the concrete floor every single day, carrying awkward weight and trusting my body to do whatever I asked of it without complaining. I genuinely thought my legs would just last forever without any special maintenance. I thought the work I did in my 30s would somehow carry me through my 70s. It did not. I watched my buddy Tom go from walking the local golf course every weekend to using a heavy metal cane in less than 2 years because his legs just stopped responding to what his brain was telling them. I saw the look in his eyes when he realized he could not trust his own foundation anymore. I was absolutely not going to let that happen to me. I had to figure out how to flip that electrical switch back on before the rust set in permanently. Over a few long, difficult months, I tracked down 4 specific things I was doing every single morning that were actively keeping my legs weak. I am going to walk you through these 4 things today. The very last one is a morning nerve habit that completely changed how my legs carry me, but the first one is something we all do because we were told it is the ultimate health food. I always started my day with 3 heavy scrambled eggs. Ever since I was a young man working the early shifts, we all learned that eggs mean pure protein, and protein means strong muscle. It was the breakfast of men who worked hard. But what I discovered through a lot of trial and error was that when you are already dealing with weak nerves and an aging digestive system, a heavy load of egg protein first thing in the morning just sits in your gut like a cold stone. My aging body was suddenly sending all the available blood and vital energy straight to my stomach just to process that heavy meal. That left my arms and my legs feeling like dead lead for hours afterward. It takes a massive amount of physical energy to break down that heavy food, and during that long time, your muscles are actually starving for immediate usable fuel. I read a fascinating aging study involving over 80 seniors that showed older folks with compromised digestion might only absorb half of that heavy protein anyway. The rest is just waste that drains your energy. My older neighbor Frank was eating a huge plate of eggs every single day thinking he was doing the right thing, but he was still losing muscle mass every single month. I watched him struggle to push his lawnmower. His body was just completely exhausted trying to digest his heavy breakfast. I stopped the heavy eggs immediately. I shifted to lighter things my body could actually break down and use right away for energy. The second thing I had to change was exactly how I moved my body when I first got out of bed. I used to do these long, slow stretches on the bedroom floor to get the stiffness out. I would pull my foot to my back and just hold it there. I would reach for my toes and stay there while I breathed. I honestly thought stretching out my weak, tired muscles was the responsible adult thing to do. I thought I was preventing injuries. But Megan sat me down and explained that static stretching cold muscles actually puts your nerves right back to sleep. It literally reduces the sharp electrical signal traveling from your brain down to your legs. She showed me a university study that looked at 65 older adults and found that slow static stretching in the morning decreased their leg power by almost 8% for the entire rest of the day. I was literally turning down the volume on my own legs without even knowing it. I used to see my friend Bill doing those exact same slow stretches in his concrete driveway before his morning walks, and he was always stumbling over the curb. He thought he was warming up, but he was actually putting his nerves to sleep right before he needed them the most. I stopped doing that immediately. The third thing was my deeply ingrained morning coffee routine. I would wake up, walk into the kitchen, and drink 2 big hot cups of black coffee immediately. I thought it woke my brain up and got me ready for the day. But what nobody ever told me in all my years was that your nerves absolutely need deep hydration to conduct electricity properly. When you sleep, your body dehydrates naturally. Waking up and hitting your dry internal system with strong acidic caffeine pulls even more precious water out of your muscle tissue. I found a comprehensive study tracking over 200 seniors for 5 solid years. The medical researchers found that the men and women starting their day chronically dehydrated had a 20% faster decline in their motor nerve function compared to the hydrated group. The electrical wiring inside them was just drying out and fraying at the edges. My son Derek runs a busy heating and cooling business, and he drinks thick coffee all day long with 0 water. I noticed his hands visibly shake when he holds a heavy wrench now. His nerves are completely starved for basic hydration. I changed my routine that same week. I started drinking 2 tall glasses of room temperature water before the coffee machine is even allowed to turn on. The difference in my mental clarity and my leg stability was noticeable in days. So I fixed the heavy food sitting in my gut, stealing my energy. I stopped the dead static stretching that was putting my legs to sleep. And I flooded my system with clear water to help the electricity flow freely again. And those 3 things really did help me build a better foundation. The scary, hollow feeling in my calves started to slowly fade away. But I still did not have that confident, sharp snap back in my step. I still felt that slight, terrifying hesitation when I reached the bottom of the basement stairs carrying a box. The power was not fully back on. That is exactly when I found the 4th thing. The one major adjustment that actually wakes up the sleeping nerves and forces the aging muscle to start rebuilding itself from the inside out. This is the morning nerve habit I mentioned earlier. It is not lifting heavy, dangerous weights in a crowded gym. It is entirely about explosive intention. I learned that to wake up a dying motor nerve, you have to send a sudden, forceful signal straight from your brain down the line. So I started doing what I simply call the fast stand. I walk over and sit on my hard wooden dining room chair. Instead of groaning and pushing myself up slow using the armrest like I used to do, I plant my feet solid and flat on the floor. I brace my stomach tight, and I stand up as fast and as hard as I possibly can. I just do it once or twice. Then I sit back down and breathe normal. The physical speed is the only thing that matters here. That sudden burst of speed forces your brain to recruit every single nerve fiber you have left in those legs. A medical paper I found showed that just 10 minutes of fast intention movement a week improved nerve firing rates in older men by nearly 30%. 30% more electricity going straight to the legs just from moving fast with intention. When I started doing that fast stand every morning, the change was absolutely undeniable. It was exactly like turning the main breaker back on in a dark, silent house. I do not hesitate at the bottom of the basement stairs anymore. I do not worry about my balance when I am walking across wet grass. And the best part is, I do not think twice about picking up my grandson when he runs at me full speed in the backyard. The muscle did not just magically come back. The electrical connection came back. You do not have to accept the static in your legs as a life sentence. You do not have to just sit there in your chair and watch your legs get thinner every single year. Muscle does not disappear overnight for no reason. It goes away when you stop giving it a powerful reason to stay. You can wake those nerves up starting tomorrow morning with one fast stand. Do not wait until lifting yourself out of a chair feels like a major medical problem. The independence you want to keep always begins right there in the legs. I am going to go work in the garage for a bit and organize some tools. I will be around if you need me.